feel like a chatty Cathy today. So, like, my mind has just been firing, like, opinions, lots of opinions. So, yeah, I wanted to do, or I kind of started doing a live stream this morning. I did a hair one, but I've decided, like, of course, I'm always going to do hair content on this channel, but I am definitely, like, a lifestyle channel, and I'm a live streaming channel, impromptu, unscheduled live stream, that's my thing. So anyway, this morning I kind of cut my walking, talking live stream a little short because I felt like I was safe, but some guy was trying to get my attention. Like, he's like, excuse me, ma'am. And to me, if you see somebody is on their phone, they're obviously engaged, and like, he could have just not bothered me, like, and maybe he didn't see, like, but I don't believe that. I do believe he totally saw me on my phone, like, because I'll tell you why. Because I was doing my little live stream and I was talking about how I prefer closets over dressers, and like, I walked past a couple of these older, like, hotel motel things. It's a nice part of town. It's not the nicest part of town, but I know it's like a short extend stay. But here's the thing, I think that was like the owner, the manager, and it was just really strange because he was checking his mailbox, okay, and he was like staring at me, and then he like was like, excuse me, ma'am. So I ran past him because it made me feel really uncomfortable, because if you're a woman out walking and somebody's staring at you, like, initially, and then like they say, excuse me, ma'am, women do need the sticky wicky up for themselves, like, because some men do not have good intentions, and I really don't trust men that approach me when I'm walking. I just don't. Even if there are men that have good intentions, if you're walking and a man approaches you, it sends up your boundary line. Like, your boundary line just goes up, and you don't want to engage in somebody, like, when you're walking, and if, like, they approach you, it makes you feel super uncomfortable. And as a woman, you need to put your safety first, your comfort first, and some people don't like that, and I'm not even rude about it. Like, look, I think it's nice when a man opens the door for me, and I like chivalry, like, but when you're out walking, it's kind of different, because I live in a nice town, but sometimes I walk past a couple areas that they're okay, but they're not residential, and I could go a different way. I've thought about that. That's the only thing that's kind of changing about our town. Like, I've had to change the way I walk a couple different times due to activity, with things kind of evolving as our population increases, and I generally feel safe. But just as a woman, and I think as a man too, you have to be careful as a man, because I think sometimes people think, oh, men could never be attacked. But anytime someone, like, tries to get your attention or ask, like, saying excuse me, it sends up my radar. Like, I'm like, no, you don't need anything from me. Like, if you had an emergency as an adult, you can call the police. Like, there was nothing, like, and some people might be like, oh, you're not being, like, hospitable towards that person. But no, you need to put your comfort level first. It's not what, like, people think. Some people are like, oh, some women aren't polite when they're out walking. And I mean, honestly, I used to feel like I should say hi to everybody that when I was walking, but that kind of changed. And the thing that made it change was people's behavior when you're out walking, because you know that I have pretty good intuition, and you know that they don't have a good intention. And if somebody's just standing there staring at you, and then they see that you're definitely on your phone, because it was pretty obvious I was, like, filming something on my phone, he didn't need to engage me. He didn't need to say, hey, excuse me, ma'am. I was on the sidewalk minding my own business, doing my own thing. He could have just left me alone. I'm not one of those, like, social media people that would turn the camera on someone. I would never do that, because I find that unsavory too. Like, even if you see somebody do something bad, like in a public space, I just don't record them. I don't feel like, why would I do that? Because to be honest with you, that's causing a confrontation, and I would never do that. Plus, it kind of is a legal gray area. You don't really want to film people without their consent, even if it's something that's not so good. Plus, I don't want to feed into that. It's something, if I see something that's not good, I'm just like, I'm going to walk away, and I'll get somebody, like if something really bad's happening, I'll get somebody like an authority to deal with it. I'm not going to confront people if they're doing bad stuff. I'm just not. If somebody's being rude, they're rude. I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to engage, you know. See, sometimes even in California, you have to like step back. Like the sidewalk's dangerous sometimes. Anyway, oh golly, trying to cross the streets and whatnot. So, yeah, that's my whole point. I put my safety first. And I think as a woman, you do need to put your safety first. And men should too, because sometimes men have been attacked. And I feel like when people try to engage you, they're doing it because they want your attention in some way to do something nefarious. So my trust level of people is very, very low. I don't trust people, and that's actually a good thing, because I think the less you trust people, I know people are like, but you should trust people, and I'm like, not really. You need to just be safe, like your safety first, and don't worry about what other people think. Like if you're being rude when you're walking and you're not interacting with them, it doesn't matter, because unless somebody's coming to your house and they're going to take you out to lunch and be your best buddy with warmth, friendship, I just don't, like, I'm at the point in my life, I'm not really worried as much about, like, I don't know, what random people on the street think. Like, so those are just my thoughts about walking. So when you're walking, you need to be super safe, very cautious, super aware, and yeah, you don't need to worry about engaging people. So this morning, I'm not going to stop like doing something that I enjoy just because some people want to make me feel uncomfortable, or maybe, I don't know what the reason is, but I don't really need to know what the reason is, right? Like, I just need to focus on myself. So that kind of brings into my next topic. I'm thinking about doing an edited video about focusing on your own plate, because it's something that's really coming up in my consciousness right now, and it's something that I've been seeing a lot of, where people talk about focusing on your own plate, focusing on yourself, not like paying as much attention. Like, I'm not saying you can't care about social issues, current events, things like that. That's fine, but I'm trying to be more selective about what I say about those things, because I feel like just having, like, putting, like, or focusing too much on those things doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help me. And if I want to focus on living a more self-care driven life, I don't want to muck up my mind with those things. You know, that's kind of my thought on that. But anyway, yeah, it's very dark. Like, people think cities are well lit, but no, like, every day I'm seeing more and more lights in our city like burn out, or like put them out. I don't know. It's just very dark. So, like, there are lights here and there, but it's not as dark as, like, if you live in the mountains or a rural area. But I will say, like, my vision has completely adapted to walking in the dark. I mean, the anomaly is, like, there's definitely like a line of traffic coming towards me, like that, but I'm very adapted to walking in the dark, and I feel like it's adapted my vision. And on the hair front, I am just wanting to focus on my own plate, my own life, like things I can do to enrich my life. For the very first time in my life, I'm starting to ask myself, can I just focus on me and what I think and trying to eschew what other people think as much, because I feel like it doesn't really serve you well, in my opinion, to always be worrying about what other people think. I'm not saying you can't care, but I care a lot less, or I'm endeavoring to care a lot less. And actually, yeah, I'm starting, like, and I know that some people might think, well, that seems like very, like, just like dismissive or not community spirit. And I want to be nice to people. I do help people when I can, but I just reached the point in my life that no, I don't want to worry about what other people are thinking all the time. And it doesn't really serve me well, because I feel like a lot of times what other people are thinking has nothing to do with me. It's not part of my plate. Like, I need to focus on what's on my plate. And I feel like this topic of your own plate, it's a very big thing. And you could be on social media and focus on your own plate. I truly believe that. Or you can be very invested in what everybody else is doing. You can do it many different ways. I don't think that social media is any more negative than real life at this point, because I'll be honest with you, I know people are always like, but social media causes more anxiety and people are more negative. I don't know if I totally agree with that. Maybe I have a slightly different opinion, because I've kind of looked at that. And I remember I did a video about this a few years ago where I talked about like the telephone. Like, if you look at some of my old videos, like where naysayers said, oh no, when the telephone's invented, people are going to gossip and they're going to like use it to be silly. Like, basically they're saying women, we're going to use it to just socialize. But they found out men socialize too. And then they found out, oh, you can make money with the telephone, like businesses, just like with TikTok or YouTube. They're like, wait, at first, like, it seemed bad, but then they're like, we can make money with this. So I think, I'm not saying that people can never have like anxiety from the internet, because yeah, of course they can, but I think real life can create that too. And I think, yeah, people probably should interact with each other more, like, but that's more our society needs to teach, like, limits on devices. Like, if you're in a public meeting or something, you should probably have your device away and not glancing at it every 5 minutes, unless you were looking up some notes for an event or something. That I totally agree with. I just think the thing that we need in our society was just to realize that change is constant, and some things are good and some things are bad, but overwhelmingly more things are the same than they are different. Like, and I don't think things have completely changed from 1907 when the telephone was newer to now when people are on the TikTok scrolling. A lot of it has to do with how you use the social media or the telephone or even in-person interactions, because I feel like any of it could cause anxiety, really. Like, if you let it like seep too much into your being. And that's where I began to realize, like, I personally have not experienced anxiety from social media, but I did come to this conclusion that I need to focus more within, and you can have any kind of journey and any kind of creative expression on social media. Like, they're all valid. There's a place for many different kinds of people on social media. And just what I'm doing right now, and I'm not saying it's never going to change, is like I'm on a focus on your plate journey where I'm going to be discussing how learning, like, I'm not saying, like, sensitive people will always kind of be bothered by certain things that more, I don't know, people that just like truly don't worry about what other people think. They're always going to, because there are some people in the world, they just really truly, and I'm not saying that that's good or bad, I think it's just a mindset. There are just some people in the world, they're just very much, it's not that they don't ever care about other people, but in general, they don't worry too much about what other people think. They just don't. It's not part of their worries or part of their thought process. Whereas I think more sensitive types, yeah, we sometimes worry about what other people think. And I think too, like, there's been a lot of derisiveness towards people that are more sensitive. And you know what? You need to own it. You need to own being sensitive, because there's a place for everybody. And everybody has a form of intelligence, genius, brilliance, mindset. And yeah, you just need to own who you are on a level that, like, will transcend. I feel like I'm starting to sound like a transcendentalist or something. I'm getting kind of like into my philosophical phase. Anyhow, these are just my thoughts. I'm going to talk about focusing on your own plate and how that ties into hair growth and just life in general. Thanks for watching.